Welcome to our session 2 of our third workshop on multi-level analysis. This time we will be conducting multi-level analysis. I will also be talking a little bit about centering. So this is the agenda. I will show you how to conduct this analysis using HLM, Hierarchical Linear Model. I should actually point out that HLM is different from HMR, or hierarchical multiple regressions. People may get that confused. Usually we used HMR when running moderation models. It's a stepwise approach to run moderation models. HLM is all about multi-level analysis. And then we'll be talking about a really important topic on HLM, on multi-level analysis, which is centering. So remember, multi-level analysis, we have models that vary, the parameters vary at multiple levels. We have students nested in schools, or we have employees nested in leaders, we have leaders nested in departments, we have days, observational days, nested in the individual. So there are different levels of analysis. We can test for the relationship between leaders, personality traits, on employees' performance. There are a bunch of models that we can conduct and are relevant for organizational scholars that the observations and the parameters vary at different levels. And as a graphical representation again, we have intercepts that vary but not slopes. We have slopes that vary but not intercepts. And we have slopes and intercepts that vary between teams, across groups, if you will. Let's run a model. The first thing that you needed to do is to get HLM. Once you get HLM software and you click on the icon, this is the screen that you see. Now you needed to click on File first, and we needed to make an MDM file. I gave you two files, one at the individual level and one at the team level. If you want to download those files, this is a great time to do so, and you go to the description of this video and click on those links, get the files, and save them in your computer in a place that you know, of course. So now, another piece of information, those files are SPSS files. So you can also run analysis on SPSS if you want, not multi-level analysis as we are conducting in HLM here, but you can also run multi-level models on SPSS. I just think that HLM is more friendly and easier to understand, especially the output part. So I'm adopting HLM for multi-level analysis at this point, especially for the main facts. So now make your MDM file. Click there, and because we have a SPSS or SPSS files, we needed to click on Stat Package Input. So there are a bunch of models that you can run on HLM, and you have 2-level models, 3-level models, 4-level models, and other types of models. We'll focus on the simple one, the most simple one, which is 2 levels. We have data at the individual level, and we have data at the department level. Click on OK, and now we needed to enter this data on the HLM software. So first, we are specifying level 1 data. Click on Browse and find where the files are saved. Let's click on the employee, which is our level 1 data set. And then we needed to choose our variables. So here, it's important to choose the correct identifier. In our case, it will be the department. And then we have job satisfaction and performance at the individual level. So please select those two and click on OK. Now it is time for our level 2 specification. Browse, select the department file. and choose the variables here. It's critical to select the same identifier, which is the department. So by choosing the correct identifier, HLM will be able to match and combine these two files at the level 1 and at the level 2 observations. So now we are selecting leaders, leader relational behavior, and leader task related behavior. Click on OK. And we needed to create the file. We needed to create the MDM file. Give it a name. In my case, I just name it demo. And save the MDM file. You have to rename it again. So I just name it demo file. And now you click on save. Yeah, there are many steps when you are using HLM, but we needed to follow them. So there is no way around all those steps until the point that we are ready to run the analysis. We need now to make the MDM. We click on Make MDM. And the first thing that I usually do is to check the stats, just to make sure that we select the correct identifier, the correct variables. And if you check the stats, this is what you see. So at the level 1, we have job performance, 600 observation, performance, 600 observation. Level 2, we have leaders, observations, or relational behaviors, or task-oriented behaviors. We have 20 leaders there. Great. This looks right. Based on the information that I know, we created these files, so this is what you should be seeing. Now you click on Done. And you're ready to run your multi-level models. The first thing that you needed to see is that you have level 1 and level 2 here. We'll start off with the level 1. So what you needed to do is to specify your analysis, what we are doing. So in this model, we are predicting that job performance or job satisfaction has a relationship with performance at the individual level. But because we know that these individuals are nested in the department, we needed to partial out the variance that's related to the department. So now what we do is we click on performance and select outcome variable. And you have some information here. You have an equation being formed here. With performance, we have an intercept, and that's it, and the random error. We don't have a slope because we don't have a predictor to performance yet. But now, if we click on job satisfaction, we can add that as a predictor. We can add that as an independent variable. Important information about centering. We needed to grant mean center at this point. I will explain centering in a bit, but for now, just click and add that variable by clicking on Add Variable Grant Centered. Let's talk more about centering because this is an extremely important point when we are running multi-level analysis. Okay? There are two options of centering. One is at the grant mean, and the other is at the group mean. So at the grant mean, you get all those 600 observations and get the mean. Okay? And then you center that variable based on the mean of the 600 observations. With group mean centering, you get the mean of each one of those 20 departments. And your variables in that department are centered based on the mean of that particular group, that particular department. And that gives you different information and gives you information. You have to interpret the results differently based on how you centered your variables. Rules of thumb: when do you grant mean? When do you group mean center? So when you group mean center, it is appropriate when you are interested in the relationship between a level 1 independent variable and level 1 dependent variable. Grand mean centering is appropriate when you is interested in a level 2 predictor and want to control for level 1 covariates. We are not doing this here. Group mean centering is preferable for examining cross-level interactions and interactions that involve a pair of level 1 variables. And grand mean centering is appropriate for interactions between variables at the level 2. Okay? So these are some rules of thumb for when you select grand mean centering or group mean centering. Now we are back to the analysis. So we are back to analysis, and if you look at your level 2 model here, okay, you have that your intercept can have a overall mean plus a random error. But your slope, the beta 1, does not have a random slope activated yet. So you needed to double click on this mu here, mu1, to activate the random slope. So you see, if you double click it, now your mu1 is black. It's not gray anymore. We are ready to run our model. Just click on the run the model and we'll see what will happen. HLM is not very much friendly, so you'll get this this screen that's black with a bunch of things, and then probably you'll get an information about convergence. So you needed to click on Y on your keyboard, and then the program will keep running. Well, once you get that, what will happen is you'll not see the black screen anymore. How do we get the output? You needed to go to File and all the way down to View Output. If you click on that, then you have the output file. Yeah, I know, it takes a few steps to get to the output, but that's how HLM was developed. So the first thing that you see is this information about your sample. So 600 observations at level 1, 200 observations at level 2. My outcome variable is performance. And if you scroll down your output file a little bit, you'll see the equations, the level 1 equation, the level 2 equation, and the mixed model equation. It's important to notice that the level 2 models, we have one for the intercept and one for the slope. This gamma 0, 0 is the overall average for the intercepts. If there is variance across teams, across groups, in this case across departments, that's represented by mu. For the beta 1, this gamma 1, 0 is the mean of the slopes. If the slopes vary across department, that will be represented by your mu1. Okay? So now that we are here, we are looking at your variables, we are looking at your mixed model equation, and let's take a look at the results, the coefficients. We would go all the way down to the final estimation of fixed facts with robust standard errors. And I want you to take a look at the coefficient for the intercept. And here the coefficient for the intercept is 0.17, okay, with a standard error of 0.34. If we move to the p-value, we find that the intercept is not statistically different from 0 because p is not less than 0.05. And if we look at the slope beta 1, the coefficient is 0.44, the standard error 0.04, And if we look at the p-value is less than 0.05. So we do have a significant slope for job satisfaction, the effects of job satisfaction on performance. And now we needed to see if this coefficients, the intercept and the slope, vary across departments or between departments. And we look at this part of the output here. Okay. We notice that for the intercept, our mu0, the standard deviation there is 1.54. Well, if we look at the p-value, we find that this standard deviation is definitely different from 0. So what that means is that, well, although our intercept, the overall intercept is not different from 0, statistically different from 0, we do have enough variance between departments, or a variance between the departments that is making this is meaningful information. All the departments, they don't have the same starting point, the same intercept. But if we look at the job satisfaction, the slope here, the standard deviation is very small. It's 0.05. And we look at if we look at the p-value, we see that p-value is not less than 0.05. So what we find here is that, well, the slopes across departments are pretty much the same. So although we do have a significant slope, the slope is different from 0 across all the departments, they tend to be pretty much the same. There is not much variance in the slope. So what we can conclude here is that, well, the intercept is not different from 0 for all, when we take all the departments together, the intercept is pretty much close to 0. But there is variance across departments. With the slope, we find that the slope is significant. So the slope is different from 0. That slope is not flat. But we also find that that slope does not change based on the department. So the slope is pretty much the same across all the departments. Well, in this session, we ran a HLM model. We ran a multi-level analysis model, and we showed that we can have models in which the slope vary across departments or across groups. We can have slopes that are statistically not different from 0, but we could have variance on how the slopes happen across departments. We have differences in slope, and we have differences in intercepts. We also talked a little bit about centering, which is an extremely important topic for HLM and multi-level analysis. And we mentioned that we can have grant mean centering or group mean centering. I hope that this session was enough to keep you interested in multi-level analysis. This is a complex analysis that we can have mediation models, interaction models, moderation models, conditional indirect effect models. This is the simplest type of analysis that we can have at multi-level, in which we look at the direct effect. So this is the end of our second session in our third workshop. So the Bread Lab put together 3 workshops for you. So the first one, we covered mediation and moderation. We had 5 sessions on that topic. We covered topics from parallel mediation, zero mediation, moderation, one mediation models, and then we had our workshop 2, in which we had 5 sessions for our conditional indirect effect. And finally, we had our workshop 3, in which we gave you some information about multi-level analysis. Thank you.